Hi, my name is Patricia, and I'm going to be unboxing my brand new Janome MB-7 embroidery machine. I've got with me a pair of scissors to open the box, but that's all I've got so far. So let's get started. Okay, here we go. Another box, what do you know? I bet I'm going to have to lift this out of here. Sure looks like it. I think I might have to get a little bit of help, or I'm going to have to cut this box out. I think I'm going to cut this box. Because the box underneath looks pretty sturdy, actually. Look at that. It says Janome MB-7. Okay, continuing on, I got rid of the other box, and I've got these big staples here, so let's see how I can undo the box from the staples without injuring myself. So far so good. Aha. Alright, let's see what we've got in here. This looks like the thing the thread goes on. This also looks like a thread thing. Power cords, and oh look, they gave me a Phillips head screwdriver. I think that's going to come in handy. Looks like some more thread guide types of things. This looks like the USB that will go maybe from the little display panel to the computer or the machine. I'm not sure, but we'll find out. I think this is the bar that goes between the machine and the display. Again, I'm not positive about that. We'll find out. Here's some little felt pads. I believe those go underneath my spools of thread, but I'm guessing. Here is the frame that I believe holds the embroidery hoops. At least if I'm identifying it correctly. Aha! Instruction book. Nothing better than a good old instruction book or user's guide. I'm one of those people who reads these things, and I have actually read quite a lot of it already online in anticipation of getting my machine. So I'm the person that reads this. You may or may not. Some people don't like to. Let's see, let's pull this out. We've got some hoops. Here are the 3 hoops that come with the machine. 1, 2, 3, a little bitty one, a medium, and a bigger one. I think I'll put those here. And we have a little screen thing. This is where we control our there it is. I'm excited. Have a lot of buttons to learn how to use. I think I'll put that over here on my ironing board for now. Important notice, please note that the RCS unit is optional. Okay, we're going to use it. Instructional DVD. Again, I'm one of those people that watches these things. And pull out this. And there it is. Yay! So this is my very first look at my brand new Janome MB-7. down there in the box. It looks heavy, but I'm going to try to pick it up and put it on my table by myself. If I can't do that, I may end up getting my husband or my daughter to help me, but let's see how this goes. Hang on. Okay, I'm going to try to lift this thing out of the box. The instruction book does not tell me the best way to lift it out of the box. It just says place it on a flat and stable surface. So let's see how this goes. Hopefully you won't see me failing here. It's heavy, but it's not like terribly heavy. That makes sense. I just don't want to push it or anything in the wrong way because I don't want to damage it. Here it is. Okay, we're ready to start assembling my machine. First thing the instruction book said is you have to have this on a nice flat level surface. This table is not where I'm going to keep this machine. I have a cabinet coming with this machine, the Ava cabinet that comes with a lot of these, and unfortunately it's on back order, so I'm supposed to be getting it next week. So in the meantime, I'm using this nice sturdy table. Normally I keep my sergers on this table, but I've moved them off temporarily, and I've got this here so I can use it over the next week until I get my cabinet. I have an order of about 20 jackets that I'm working on, and I was in the middle of doing those, and my other single needle embroidery machine died over the weekend. So I already had ordered this one, and fortunately I got it now. So while my other single needle is being repaired, I get to get this one, which I'm excited about. But anyway, we're on a good surface here. I don't have to adjust the legs at all. So the next thing I'm going to do is start assembling the spool stand. And I've got everything unpackaged here to make it easier. And what you do is you start out with this and you put in your little thread guide poles, your spool pins, So there's 7 of these, and you just put them in each of the little spots. Pretty easy to go in. They're a little tight, but that's okay. That means they'll be nice and secure. Oops, I just dropped part. And then this is part of the spool stand. This has 2 little prongs and then holes. You just put these in here in the front part, push it in. I don't know if it's supposed to go, it goes all the way down. Don't know why it's elevated from the rest of it, but it is. So I've got all my little spool pins, and then this one, and then I've got these thread guide poles. Now the thread guide poles have screws on both ends, and on the one end, the screw that goes with it has like a little edge to it or a lip, and on the other end, it's just a regular screw head. And the one with the little lip is the one that you put down, and the one without the little lip is the one that's going to go up. One word of caution about these little poles, I could not get the screws loosened, so I ended up having my husband loosen them for me, and that was really kind of a pain because even he had difficulty unscrewing them, and we had to use a grippy thing and a little bit of muscle. So I'm going to unscrew the 2 that have the little lip on them from the poles. Hopefully yours will come off more easily than mine did. And then I'm going to put them in the spool stand. I'm going to put one down, put the screw in. There's little holes there already. screw it in. Nice and tight. Put the other one in. The other one in its hole. Put the screw in. Tighten it down. And then I'm going to attach the thread guide bar to the poles. So once I get this tightened up a little, I'm going to loosen these screws at the top of the poles, then take them out. And my thread guide bar is this little thing, excuse me. And there's two holes here and here. Those just line up really nicely with the poles, and I put the screw in. Whenever I screw things in like this, I usually try to screw it in just to put it in place, and then put my next screw in, and then I tighten things. So there's my thread guide bar. And now that this is assembled, I'm ready to attach it to the machine. And I just set it there. There's 3 holes here and 3 posts. I just line those up. Then I grab the little bag that has 3 screws. These are pretty long ones. You just drop them in the holes, put them in place, and then tighten up your screws. And again, I tend usually when I put things like this in, I put them in kind of loosely to start with, and then I go back and I tighten once I've got all of them in. So tighten this one up a little, and tighten that one up a little, and my third one. There we go. Okay, I've got my thread stand assembled, and I'm ready to move on to the next part, which talks about setting the thread cones or spools of thread. And it looks like I can use that's where I use my little felt rings. So I will be right back after I've looked at the instructions a little bit more, and we will do that. With your machine, you get these large felt pads that are used whenever you put large spools of thread on your machine. So you just put them on the little pegs and then set your large spools on top of that. Then you also get your little felt pads, and you put those inside of the big ones when you use the smaller spools. Although it seems to me you could put the little, in fact I may do that. Go ahead and just leave the little ones inside, and that way they'll always be there whether you use a big spool or a little spool. So I don't know yet which thread goes with what, but I will continue working on this, and we'll find that out later. In the meantime, I'm going to put this on the machine. So I'm going to change where my camera is angled, and I'll start working on this piece. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is install this frame that's used to hold your hoops. And so the first thing you do is these 2 thumb screws you need to loosen up. They don't come all the way out, you just loosen them. So I'm going to loosen it up here, loosen up that one here. And then I'm going to take this frame, and they say to hold it by both hands, which makes sense. I'm going to go under here, and I'm just going to slide it in there. And while I'm still holding on to it, I'm going to tighten those screws up on both sides, one side and then the other. And once I've got it tightened by hand, whoops, then I'm going to take the little screwdriver that I got. I'm going to tighten it just a little bit more. So you get this little screwdriver with your machine, and I'm just going to stick it in there. The screwdriver is not nearly as big as the whoops, as the thumb screw is, but it works. Works well enough. So just stick that in there, tighten it up a little bit. There you go. And that is the hoop supporter installed on my machine. Next thing is we're going to put in the RCS unit. So that'll be able to control the machine. So again, I'm going to move my camera and we'll do that. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is install the RCS unit onto my machine. And the first thing I need to do is there's a thumb screw here, and I'm going to loosen that. And I'm going to open up what they call the mounting arm. So I'm going to pull that out. This had tape around it. I already took off the tape to make this easier, so you pull off the little cover for that. And it says loosen the screw knob, and we're going to put the RCS unit right onto these three little pegs here. On the back, we have three little notches in the RCS unit, so you just align those to that. Okay, and then you can tighten this. And then the next thing you do is you insert your connection. Again, there was some tape on this, so I took that off already. And I'm going to take off the little twisty. And then this is what the end of the cable looks like, and you'll notice that there's a little arrow on that, and back here is where you plug it in. So I'm going to plug that in with the arrow lined up with the spot. Okay, you can go ahead and go in. There we go. And then the cable, the excess cable, there's really too much there. You can wind up in here. There's a spot for it, and it shows in the book an illustration of where it can go. And I'm gonna do that off camera because it's really kind of hard to get the camera up there to see it. But you would put that in there, and then I can tighten up my thumb screw here, and then I can grab this and change the angle of my RCS unit. So at my height and the height of this table, this seems to be a pretty good angle to me. So I'm going to leave it like that. If you don't want to use this over here on this arm, there's a couple little legs on the back of this RCS unit. You could lay it down on your table. I kind of like it here myself, so I'm going to leave it like that. So next, we're going to get to turn the power on to our machine. So that's pretty exciting. Okay, I decided to show you what I did with my cable from the RCS unit. You can see it goes from where it plugs in to just below my thread stand. There's a little narrow spot right in here that kind of hugs it, and then the rest of it I just tucked back up into the bottom part of my thread stand. So now my cable is all out of the way for my RCS unit. The next thing we're going to do is attach the power cord. Here's the power cord. It's pretty standard type of power cord you see with a lot of computers and stuff. First, we want to make sure that our power switch is off, and when this little rocker switch, when you push it to the back or where the 0 is, that means the power is off. Next, you take your plug and you plug it into the side of into this spot, and then you plug your power into, they say, a wall outlet. I unfortunately don't have one really close by, so I am using a power strip. That's a no-no, but that's what I'm doing. But when I move it over to, when I move my machine after I get my cabinet, I will have it into a regular wall switch, and that's the way you're supposed to plug it in. But for where I have it right now, it's into a power strip. Next, we're going to turn this thing on. Okay, I am ready to turn my machine on, so I'm gonna press the little power switch back here. So a little flash of light briefly. Oh, there we go. It says needle bar is out of position. Press OK to move needle bar to switching position. Press OK. There's start and stop. Where is OK? Oh, there's OK. I need to learn where things are. Oh. Keep hands clear. Carriage will now move to set position. OK. I'm ready for it to move. I think I'll press OK again, see what happens. Oh. Wow. It's a little scary, but it seems to be working, and it says resume last pattern. Honestly, I don't know. So I need to start looking at this machine. It obviously is turning on, and I need to go back to the drawing board and find out what to do next. So, but the machine looks set up, and I have the power on, and so far so good. Okay, next thing we're going to do is wind a bobbin so that we can get ready to sew. I noticed there is already a bobbin in the machine, but I'm going to go ahead and figure out how to wind one. And it says to place the thread cone or spool on the very back most spool pin, and we're going to run it through this thread guide, and it looks like that's going straight up from the back down through this thread guide, and we go from this side down and then through this hole. Hello, where are you? There you are. And we're going to draw the thread to the front, way up here, and there's a little knob there. Hold the thread with both hands and pass it firmly around and under the tension disc. And then we're going to pass the thread through the hole in the bobbin from the inside. So notice there is a hole here, and we're going to run the thread through that. When I look at this bobbin, it's interesting when I compare it. Here's a bobbin for my Bernina, and my Bernina bobbin's wider, but this one is definitely bigger around this way, and the same is true with my Husqvarna. This is the same width as the Husqvarna, but again, this Janome is just a little bit larger bobbin diameter-wise. So I pass this through this hole from the inside, and then I put the bobbin on the bobbin winder spindle, and I push the bobbin winder stopper up against the bobbin. That must be this. And we're going to press the bobbin winding button while holding the thread end. Now I can let go of the, and it seems to be winding. It says it will stop automatically when it is completely full. I think I'm going to stop it a little early, if it'll let me. Yes, it does. Just because I'm not sure about my whole process yet, I'm just going to wait and do a full one a little bit later. It says it'll stop automatically. Cut the thread with the bobbin thread cutter. That is here. So I'll pull this down, and I'm going to cut my thread. Oh, look at that. How about that? And there is a partially wound spool of bobbin, spool of bobbin thread. So we'll see how easy it is to put into the machine. Okay, next I'm going to take out the bobbin case that's already there. The instructions say to turn off the power switch first, which I did. And so you open the door and you hold and open the latch of the bobbin case. So here's this little latch here, so I'm going to grab that. I'm going to pull straight out. So I release it. Oh, look, that's a nice full bobbin, full spool of bobbin thread. So, and I'm going to look at this. I'm seeing that the thread is coming out this little hole here, because I've heard these are a little bit complicated or a little bit different than what most bobbin cases are like, and they call this an open bobbin case from what I understand. And yes, it definitely looks different than the type of bobbin case that I'm used to. I'm seeing some thread come here, out there, in there. So let's release this and see if we can put it back in. So the instructions say insert the bobbin into the bobbin case, leaving a 2-inch thread tail. And we're going to put it in. Here is our, so the thread is going to the back. And here's my bobbin case. I'm going to put it in there. And then I'm going to, let's see, there's the 2 little screw things. Come up there, pull it through there, and over. And then I have to go through the little, I needed to put on my glasses for this. The thread to the right between again and slip the thread into the back slit. There's a slit here, so I don't have to oh, I see, I think. I should have put on my glasses because I can't see what I'm doing. I may have to get my glasses so I can see what's going on. Because there's supposed to be a little slit there, and I think I can see a slit. Oh, wait, I got it. I did get it. So now, inserting the bobbin case, opposite of what we did before, hold it with the latch and insert the bobbin case into the hook, aligning the bulge with the concave. So let's see if that well, there we go. Think we got it? Maybe? Hopefully. Put that in there, and I'm going to close the cover. We'll see if that works or not. Oof. Okay, next we are going to thread this machine. I'm going to start with the very first pin or needle and work my way on from there. It says that you start out by pushing this little lever back. That is your disc tension, and it needs to be loose for you to be able to do this threading. So push that back, first thing you do. I'm going to put my first needle thread on this very first spot here, and I'm going to come up through this little hole that's directly above that spool. If I can see it. There we go. So we're coming up. And then there's a little, like, they call it a tension. And we're going to go underneath that. Or, I'm sorry, a tension leaf is what they call it. And then I continue by going down. I don't know if you can see it. There's a little knob back here. and there's a little hole behind the knob, and I'm going to go up through that hole. And then there's little discs back here. I'm going to bring the thread through those discs. And on the other side of this little pin here, there's a little pin. And then I'm going to go through this slot here, straight down. And there are 7 holes kind of on the back side of this little bar. And so I'm going to go through the first one since I'm doing the first thread. I'm going to go down through that hole, and then underneath there's a little hole, and I'm going to go from right to left through that little lever, whatever it is, and then just to the side there's 2 more holes, and so I go up the first one after going through that little, and that's interesting, it pulls it up, and then I go up to this very first lever. Again, I'm doing number 1, and I'm going to go again right to left, and then I'm going to go back down through the second hole, and I keep pulling, and then just below, or above, behind I should say, where this little springy bar is, there's a little hole again for each needle. I'm going to go down through that. And I think it's really interesting how all of these needles are like different heights. And I'm also noticing that the whole of the needles are kind of pointed towards me, which I find very interesting. Not straight front to back, they're kind of to the side, which I'm sure there's a reason for that. Next there's a thread guide, like in most sewing machines, right in front of your needle. Then you thread the needle. That says to use the little needle threader. I'm personally not a fan of those, so I like to use tweezers. So I'm going to use tweezers instead of the needle threader. Just personal preference, what I'm used to. And once you've got the needle threaded, you go down through the hole on the presser foot. And then after you're done with that, I believe, you go back up where this little spring bar is, and you just go up to that, and you kind of hold the thread in there, which I think is also very interesting. Then it says, pull the tension release lever to close the tension discs. So I have my very first color, white, threaded onto my very first needle of my machine. I'm going to go ahead and thread, add some more thread to my machine, and in the book it says that when you're doing 4 through 7, you're going to bring your thread up directly through the holes in this front bar, but for numbers 2, 3, 5, and 6, they're going to pass through these little wires back here. Other than that, threading is the same, so I'm going to go ahead and thread the rest of the machine, and we'll see how this goes. Okay, we're all threaded, and I suppose we are ready to go. I put different colors on each needle, and I'm going to just try to do a really simple something. Haven't decided what yet, and we'll see if my threading works, and we'll see if my bobbin works. Here's hoping. One last thing that I forgot to do And I think this is going to be my biggest problem when threading is at the end I forgot to push this lever back forward. I have a feeling that's going to be something that I really have to work to remember, but yeah, make sure that when you're done threading you pull this lever back forward, and that will put the tension back on the thread discs. So okay, it's forward. Now I need to figure out what I'm going to stitch out, so I'm going to have to come up with a design or pick a design and hoop a hoop and see what happens. The next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and put some fabric in one of my hoops and start working on a little design. The book talks about stabilizers, and that is a whole nother topic to address, but there's all sorts of different types of stabilizers. I just have a pretty standard cutaway stabilizer here, and I just grabbed a piece of just regular old cotton fabric out of my scrap box, because this is not something that is, I'm not doing this for good, I'm just trying this. So I'm going to go ahead and use the largest hoop. I'm just going to go for it here, out of the 3 that you get with the machine. And let's read about this. It says you're supposed to attach the stabilizer to the wrong side of the fabric. Marking the center lines and stuff, I'm not going to worry about that right now. My objective right now is to see if this works. So I'm not going to really use this right now. So place the inner hoop with the template on the fabric. Make sure the arrow marks on the hoop and template are facing away from you. Here's some arrows right here and here. Don't know if you can see them, but they're there and there. So on the fabric. So we're going to place this on the fabric. So let's cut out my stabilizer. When I cut stabilizer, I always just kind of do like that. Make sure it's as large as my hoop is, or bigger than my hoop actually. And here's my fabric. Again, because this is just going to be a practice kind of thing, I am not worried at all about really proper placement. So my stabilizer and then my fabric is here. So make sure the hoop with the template fabric, inner hoop with the template on the fabric. Make sure that the arrow marks are facing away from you. Align the center lines on the fabric. Loosen the hoop tightening screw. Where is that? Oh, here we go. Loosen the hoop tightening screw in the outer hoop. Hold the inner hoop and fabric together and push them into the outer hoop. Okay. Oops. Push them into the outer hoop. Make sure to keep the center lines aligned. Again, I'm not worrying too much about centering right now. I'm just trying to get this in here and give this a try. It seems to be a little bit, have a few little wrinkles in this. So let's try this again. Smooth it out, pop it in there. Okay, and then tighten the hoop screw, tightening screw slightly. Pull the edge of the fabric to stretch it drum tight. I think this needs to be a little bit tighter. Make sure the bottom of the inner hoop is level with the outer hoop. Okay, are we drum tight yet? We're getting there. tighten the hoop tightening screw securely. Remove the template. Again, I didn't use the template. I would have this like this. Oops. Like this. And I would be centering it and all that. But again, I'm not too worried about that on this one. And now we're going to set the embroidery hoop into the machine. Okay, I'm going to put my hoop on my machine, and it says hold the setting plate with both hands and insert them under the holder clips. So there's clips on either side of this, and so I'm going to slide these under these clips. Okay, that pops in nicely. And yeah, that's basically it. Pretty easy. And the book talks about adjusting the hoop supporter for optional hoops. I don't have any others yet, so we'll just go with this for now. And it's time for me to find a design of some sort to do this. I think I'm just going to do some lettering to start with. Okay. The first thing I'm going to do is to do just a really simple lettering project, and I did a little studying up in the book, which is a good thing because it was taking me a while to find things, figure it out, but I think I understand it enough now to show you possibly how to do this, at least while I continue to learn it. But anyway, on your screen you've got an A to Z indicator here, and I'm going to click that, and I can pick first of all my type style up here, and then the various type styles are listed here, so you just use your arrow keys to move from type style to type style. And I think I'm going to use this one, Bauhaus, I think is what it's called. So when I've got that highlighted, I click OK. And the next one is orientation. I'm just going to leave mine as it is. This one is the size of your letters. I'm going to stick with medium. And as you type down here, you've got either capital letters or small letters. Your letters also can have not just letters, but you also have symbols and numbers too. So I'm going to type, and this is a touch screen, so I'm going to type H. And I'm going to go to a small letter, and then E, L, L, O, and then I'm going to do a space, and then I'm going to go back to capital, and I'm going to say M, B, and I'm going to go to my letters, or my numbers, 7. Okay, so that's how I type this in and choose my font and my size. Okay, after we have our text put in, we're going to say OK. And it brings us to this ready to sew mode, and it tells us, it shows us what it is. It shows us the size, 111 by 20 millimeters. It's going to take 6 minutes to stitch out. There's one color, and it's 2,098 stitches, and there's only one color so far. So what we're going to do is first click here, and we're going to choose the center location. It's basically placing the monogram to the right, left, or center, and we want it centered. The next thing we want to do is change it so that the each letter has a different color, because I want to test each one of my threads. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click this function key right here, and I'm going to tell it I want it to split my letters apart. So I'm going to click there, and notice down here it shows me my list of, and it says they're all black right now. And what we're going to do is we're going to change that. So we've got, next thing we're going to do is click our little color options, and I'm going to follow the colors as they are on my needles. So the very first color I'm going to use my little arrow keys, and I'm going to choose the H as a white, even though my fabric is kind of white. And then to go to the next one, it tells me, first of all, this is the first letter of 9. To go to the next one, I click this little plus. My second one is black, and I'm going to leave that as black. And then I'll press my little plus sign on the L. I've got a red color, so I'm going to start clicking over here and getting over to red. And then I'll click the next one, and my next color is a blue. Come on. I'm going to have to get used to these buttons, obviously. That's a blue. And then the next one is going to be an orange. And then I have a lime green, and the closest one I could find to that is down here. Yellow green is what they say. And my M is going to be like a purple that I've got on my machine, so I'm just going to choose the purple. And my B, let's go back to the blue, just for grins. Come on. And my 7, let's make it lime, just for fun. Okay, and once I'm done doing that, I can press the OK key, and now they're all different colors, so that's kind of fun. And at this point, since I've told it my positioning and I've told it everything else to change the colors, I am about ready to trace and see if this thing will work. So I'm going to save this. And I'm going to call it hello again. And yes, okay, there's my file. I think I'm ready to do some stitching. Okay, I'm getting ready to sew, and the first thing I want to do is trace my position in my hoop to make sure that it'll fit. I'm pretty sure it will because it's not that big, but I'm going to press this. It says trace outline, and it does its thing. And then it goes back to the starting position. Okay, now the moment of truth. I'm going to hit the start. Machine starts to run. M1. I've got an M1 hoop on that, which is 240 by 200 millimeters. And it's my reminder. And I'm ready to hit start. Stop again. Let's see what happens. Rethread and start. Oh, something already went wrong. Well, I need to do some checking to see what happens, but it's telling me that my thread wasn't. So let me get that rethreaded. Okay, I did not find anything wrong with the way it was threaded, but that's not to say there's not something still wrong, but I think my bobbin case was not in correctly, so I'm going to see if that helps. So let's see what happens. Let's see. Start. This seems happier. I think it was my bobbin. why it didn't. Oh, it's still on needle 1. I need to fix this. Let's stop it. As I look at my design over here, my screen, I can see it's showing my colors, but my needles are wrong. So I'm going to have to go back and change that. So I will figure that out. Back to the drawing board. Okay, I've figured out that I need to change my needle. I've got needle number 1. I've never used a multi-needle before, but here it is. And so I'm going to hit this little button down here, and here's where it's separated out, all of my letters. This is what separates my different needles. So here I am at needle number 1, and I'm going to go down to the second one. I'm going to say plus. So that's going to be needle number 2, I think. Needle number 3 is the red. It's a little kludgy. I think they could have done a little bit better job of programming this, but they didn't ask my opinion. 6. And 7. My blue is number 4. And my yellow-green is number 5. Oops. Okay, number 5. And I'm going to say okay. Nope. Go back. Okay, so I want to, now that I've got my needles all assigned, I want to move my design down on my, a little bit, because it's going to be, I don't want to sew back over what I've already done. So I'm going to move my design on my screen. So I need to go back into editing mode. And the way I've figured out how I can do this is, go back to menu. I'm going to click on that little thing. I need to go into editing mode, which is actually this little button here. Now I'm going to open my file. And so here is my Hello MB-7, and this was amazingly easy. I'm just going to grab it with my finger and pull it straight down. And that's going to reposition it on my field so that when it goes to stitch out, it will be in a little bit different position. So let's try this again. I'm again going to hit the Start Stop button. Whoops, I need to say OK. I'm going to say Start Stop. It says machine starts to run using my M1 hoop. See what happens. And why have we stopped? Aren't you going to do the last letter? No? Huh, that's interesting. Oh, I have the wrong needle on that one. Oh well. That was my bad. Wow. Okay, so it's finished. I'm ready to take this out of my hoop, I think. Just got to figure out how to get it out. I'm not sure how to take it out, but let's look at the book. A couple of things I learned. First of all, it is loud. Other thing, it actually considered my space an actual letter. So the space that I had, you know, hello space, I had as a yellow-green, and it didn't sew it, obviously, because there was nothing to sew, but then I ended up not getting that. And then, for some reason, it stopped just before my MB, right before the 7, in MB-7, I'm not sure why. And I accidentally chose the wrong color for that one. I had it on yellow-green, which is actually my 6th color, and I accidentally stuck the needle on 5. So, things we're learning. So the next thing I need to do is figure out how to get this frame off of this, my hoop off of my machine. So, looking in the removing the hoop, page 30. Stiff. Aha. There, I got it. Okay, there's my Stitchout. Hello MB-7. Not perfect, but I'm pretty pleased. Got most of my colors, missed my green. Obviously I'm going to have to do some trimming here, but I was able to get all the letters, and I was able to reposition it when I had the mistake up here, and I was able to get my bobbin reinserted correctly. So overall I'm pretty pleased with this. Hello MB-7. So you have just watched me as I went through the process of unboxing and setting up my new Janome MB-7 embroidery machine. I have to say I've learned a lot in the last few hours, and I think there were a few things earlier in the video that I did incorrectly, so I'm going to have to correct those things, which is fine. It's all part of learning, but one thing for sure is I'm very, very excited about the possibility and the potential with this machine. I was able, within several hours, to get it unboxed, set it up, thread it, and do a design, and stitch it out. And so that's pretty good. Again, I made some mistakes, but that's okay. It's all part of learning and growing, and I'm super, super excited about the potential I've got with this machine. I'm planning on doing some really amazing things in the future with it, and it's broadening my horizons for sure. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this video and seeing that if I can do this, anybody can do this. One thing that's very important is to use this book and let it be your guide, and there's a lot of things that you can also learn by watching other videos and stuff. And so if you get this machine, congratulations, and very best of luck to you as you play with it and learn and grow, and happy embroidering. Thank you very much.